religion, spirituality, and belief.
What's the difference between religion and spiritual, like being spiritual?
What happens when you pass away?
100%. There is an afterlife. What the fuck are you talking about, mate?
Hello, wonderful people. We are back, Father and Daughter Podcast, the only way we knew. Ria Garcia.
And myself, Mem, the father of Ria. We've changed the studio around a little bit today. It's more face head on. We was getting a little bit of a neck ache, always turning to the right, but hopefully it makes things a little bit better. I had to go and see a chiropractor.
And I'm still waiting for my appointment.
Yeah. All right, calm down. I'll get it booked for you. The studio, I feel like it's working. It's better me looking at Ria.
And you looking at Mem.
Yeah, it's nice me doing this because what it actually does, it makes me forget about the cameras and just like get on with you.
I agree. With
the little aesthetics here to make it a little bit more homely.
Even though Dad's fasting, so he can't drink none of the water.
No. We're nearly there. The holy month of Ramadan. The subject today. What's the subject today, girl?
Well, I figured we'd get stuck in. We'd go for a little bit of a worldwide topic. Again, something very, very relatable one way or another. And that is religion, spirituality, and belief. So I thought we'd delve into that subject today.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like...
have you been doing your revision?
I have-ish and I haven't. I mean, as much as I love dwelling into religion, I do tend to find I'm contradicting myself a little bit with it. You know, It's either, I have the two shoulders on the side, the good, the bad, I'm always battling with it.
Yeah.
Looking at, the whole religious side. I mean, as well as the religious side, there's a spiritual side, but the religious side first. It's crazy how, we look at TV and, we see the Islamics, the Muslims, and we see the Christians and the Jews and the Hindus. But when, you actually look into it, there's a lot of different religions, despite what we just mentioned just now. And do you know how many religions there are?
I do, yeah.
You've looked at it, haven't you? Cheeky little monkey.
Well, it's not just religions. I'd say these are just like practices, beliefs. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there's around 4,200 different types.
4,200 types of religion and beliefs. Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of people will probably just listen to that right now and go, how can there be so many religions or beliefs? I find it extraordinary there is. Mm-hmm. But then when you actually watch, you listen to different people that do podcasts or speeches, you can actually see the vast differentnesses in religions.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean by that? So, if we talk about Christianity, there's so many different types of Christianity. I mean, how many there is, I can't really say, but they do believe in that one God and different ways of believing in that one God. And with the Muslims as well, there's different types of beliefs. You know, I would love to sit down and try to figure out the 4,200.
I think you'd be there a very long time.
Yeah, but it's a great number.
It is
a great number. But a great subject.
I think it makes sense that there's so many, considering how long religion has been around overall. I think I read something along the lines of 3,000 years ago. I believe it was Hinduism.
Hedonism.
Hinduism.
Yeah. Hedonism.
It may be, but I read it as Hinduism.
I think it's heathenism.
Okay, I'll have to double check.
All right, that's what I believe
Either
it is.
hedonism or Hinduism.
Okay.
I think they found their first texts from around 3,000 years ago.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And that was all about the religious belief, yeah?
Yeah, like the practices and, their beliefs, what they do, what the purpose is, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I do believe religion can possibly go back further than that. Because you just like mentioned how the first scriptures were found at that time.
Yeah.
I mean, it only takes another find to believe that the scriptures were even later than that, and maybe we haven't dwelled or searched hard enough to find that. I think us as humans, we're always going to have a belief. Do you know what I mean? That
Definitely.
will, it keeps us strong. But religion, yeah, it's a crazy one. What's the difference between religion and spiritual, like being spiritual? What's the difference between that?
I believe...
What do you believe it is?
Okay, so I believe spirituality is more something with your inner self. I believe it's something that you go on a personal journey with to basically explore your further self, the higher. Do you get what I mean? Like, there's more to just you than your sensory abilities. Do you get what I mean by that? By that, I just mean being like a human and your physical body. So like, when you hear people talk about the universe and alignment and stuff like that, I believe that's
like an outer energy, yeah?
Yeah, an outer energy. But I don't believe it's so much as what religion is in terms of like, okay, there's a God, and there is like this structure that you must follow in order to say you are a believer of this God. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
It's more a community. It's more a community language. Do you get what I mean? It's not your own individual language.
Yeah.
So that's what I believe the difference is.
Okay.
Do you think of it the same way, or?
Yeah, I think religion itself is an external belief.
Yeah.
And I think spiritual is an internal belief.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you are very religious and you practice, remember religion itself is, a lot of people, you cannot just become religious.
No.
No, I hope you know this, yeah? So you don't just wake up one day and go, I'm Muslim.
No, not
I'm
at all.
Christian.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, what they don't understand, and the people that are religious will probably vouch for me, is that you have to become religious and you have to become a believer. And the only way you become a religious and a believer is by practicing the book, the holy books,
Whether it's the Bible.
Or the Quran. So you have to read this book just like an exercise book, and you research it and take it on board and let it sink in, and you start to realise it's an education.
100%.
It's a way of being where it's telling you, as much as you have these crazy phases or scriptures or passages in the book, and us who are not believers can't really make much sense of it, and then you have someone that does teach, a religious teacher, and he starts to break it down for you and you start to understand, you have now been educated in that book, in that way.
But I believe the only way you can dedicate yourself to learning all of that is if you devote yourself to the religion.
You have to commit yourself.
Because like you said, to educate yourself fully, it will take a lot of your time. And if you just, that's what I mean. Like, you've got, okay, I believe in God and I'm a religious person. And then you'd probably stand there with somebody who is actually very, very religious. They know everything about whatever holy book that they follow or whatever God they follow. And you're like, bro, I'm not as religious as you. Do you get what I mean? So yeah, there definitely is levels.
So, do you know what? Just you talking about what you just said just now, it made me just actually think, you cannot just believe in God. You cannot not believe in a religion. No, how can I explain this? If you don't believe in a religion, you can't really believe in God. And I'm going to tell you why. Because it just sunk into me just now. That you need to learn about God. You need to be proven there is a God. You can't just say, there's a God. I believe in a God. I mean, but why do you believe in a God? What are the reasons for you to believe in this God? So by you know, just now by me explaining to you about being educated in one of the holy books, it starts to develop a bond with God. You start to create a love with God. You start to create a presence with God. You start to create He is really there. I really actually believe in what I am reading and feeling. So in my eyes, I believe in my God, which is either Allah or Jesus Father, whatever, God himself. So if you do not believe in if you believe in a God and you don't practice a religion, you can't really and truly believe in a God. Because you yourself, you can't really identify what God you actually believe in.
And why.
Because all these books or beliefs have different approaches. So for people that turn around, and this is just sunk in just now for me. And it's not something that... So for me to hear that, I believe in God, but what do you... No, I don't really believe in that. But you don't really know about what God is. Did you understand what I mean by that?
So then I feel like I contradicted myself a little bit. Because if, for example, you devote yourself to a religion, how will you know if that religion is for you if you don't know everything about it?
Exactly. That's exactly. So maybe for you to know if you believe in a God is not actually to commit yourself to one religion.
It's to study
to study religion as a whole. And then come to your own relation with a specific God. Whatever it may be, if you're going to go down to the Jewish side or the Hindu or the Sikh or the Christianity or Hinduism or Muslim. I mean, until you've actually studied all them religions,
how do you know what one is for you?
You can't really say which one really truly connects with your spiritual inside. That makes you go from a spiritual belief to a religious belief. To actually convince yourself that there is a superpower up there, which is my God, who I love. Did that make sense?
100%.
And that just fell into me just now. So for me to sit here, it's made me actually just reevaluate my status in a religious way.
Would you consider yourself religious?
Well, you have... I'm spiritual. 100% I'm spiritual. We'll talk about being spiritual, but I've always... I think deep down with all of us, even the people that are not religious, would like to be religious. We've all been thrown into religious paths. We've all been thrown into religious ceremonies. I'll give you an example. So I'm going to stop it there about what I'm going to say, but everything that we're talking about will always come back and relate to our book. Okay, so I have to remind the viewers that the first time that I've kicked onto this podcast and they're listening to it, why are they talking about religion? It all relates back down to the book. So I'll give you, going back to what we just spoke about, was being religious. Now, I can remember when my nan had passed away, my granddad had passed away, my cousin passed away young, and my dad passed away. And I can remember us we all became religious. We all became believers.
Yeah.
We all sat there in a mosque with our loved one there in a coffin, and we had the imam singing the hymns and talking, and we all wanted to, please, I want to believe in him. I want to believe in this. He's going to go to heaven. Please let him go to heaven. Please let this not be a dark hole and it's done. Silence. Please let him go somewhere. So us as individuals, we will always encounter a religious process, or it's a process, a religious ritual. Whatever it may be, if it will be a death, someone being baptized, marriage is a religious, it's sort of a religious ritual. With people get married or at registry office, that's government, that's for the government. But people go to church, and you have like do you solemnly swear to take these, and we are all thrown into religious paths.
Yeah.
If we choose to take that on, it's down to us. How did you think? How do you feel with what I just said?
I can see why you think that, because like you said, I think people find themselves in situations where they're faced with religious, would you say rituals, like you just said, like for example marriage. I wonder how many people don't actually think of it like that. Do you know what I mean? They just see it as, okay, marriage is what I'm meant to do with somebody that I love, and they may get married in a church setting or in a particular kind of setting, and they kind of don't realise that it's religious in a way. Do you get what I mean? But it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not all people get married in a church, even though they're Christian. Because a lot of people are adamant. They're like, no, I'm not getting married in a church because I'm not religious.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? So
But even just the act of marriage.
The act of marriage is going down to the registry office, signing it, and even I believe that the way they get registered is a little bit a ceremony in a way of like, I think they asked you, are you Christian? Are you Muslim?
Yeah.
And I think they make you put your hand on a book, or I think all
You
these
swear,
things,
whatever it is.
Even like now, if you go to court, they'll ask you, do you solemnly swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, and what religion do? And you put your hand on the Bible, you put your hand on the Quran, and they put you in a religious state that you can feel guilt. Obviously some people don't give a shit, they just lie or whatever, but
I think a lot of the time as well, when religion comes into play, is when you think of death. I think that's when, like, for example, someone's passed away. Okay, you have a funeral. The funeral will kind of depend what religion that person is. Do you get what I mean? And how that person is. Are they buried? Are they cremated? Or what kind of... I think religion lays really heavy with what happens when you pass away. So I think that's another big link to it.
It is. See, it's a hard one, isn't it? Because there's a big, thick wall between the living and the dead. Yeah. So when you're dead, when you've died, who knows? Yeah. They found out if there is or there isn't. But it's on this side of the wall.
You'll always have
that
the
you're
question.
left wondering.
Yeah.
You're left trying to, you pray for that person to go to somewhere. It might be someone young. Yeah. It might have been a freak accident. It might have been a freak illness that's kicked in. It might have been just all of a sudden someone has just passed away. Yeah. And you're left there in a bewildered state. And it makes you question on this side, is there or isn't there? If someone has grown old, like I'll be honest with you, like the way my dad passed away, and the way your great nan passed away, Annale, which was your nan's mum. Trust me, right? It was magical. Yeah. The way she passed away. Where she was not, she was not barely breathing. She was barely breathing. Yeah. Where literally the whole family came into that room. Yeah. And if your great nan was sitting there and she was understanding that all my family are here, I don't believe there could have been a better way that someone could have passed where she took her last breath
with
holding
all of
hands.
her. Yeah.
And I looked at it in that hospital room and I was like, damn, if I was ever going to go,
that's how you'd want it to be.
That's how I'd really want to go. Do you get what I mean? And then you look at the way other people have gone, and that way, it's felt very religious. It's felt very...
Yeah.
I think there was a Bible beside the bed, and there was like a cross.
I think there's been a few deaths in families where they could say that they felt a religious presence. Like, for example, I think my nan's... I may get this information wrong, but I think it was my nan's nan. I think when she passed away... I'm blurring the lines between the story, but I believe she was on a bed, and I think she literally like jumped off of the side. Like she was very fragile, immobile, and I think she like had this one last surge of energy where she just like stood up off the bed or done whatever she did, and then she passed away. And I think, and she was a very religious person. So I do think there are many situations that happen where people do have a kind of spiritual death. Do you know what I mean? Like, besides all of the sudden deaths that may occur, which we would say are not so spiritual, when it happens like that, you do look at it like, okay, that's a very spiritual kind of passing. Yeah, I hear you.
Religion itself plays a big part in the beginning, the middle, and the end of an individual. You know, when they're born, they live their life, and then they pass away. So as much as I sit here and I talk about religion, and it might sound like I'm a little bit religious, yeah. What have I got there?
Bit of fluff.
Have I got a bit of fluff?
Other side.
There?
Yeah,
Go on?
that's it.
Okay.
No, because last time you told me off.
Okay, so... Even though religion it plays a big part in the beginning, the middle, and the end, what we'd like to believe in a religious belief, there's an outer body that will carry us through this journey. This is just like a part of our journey in our universal life, not our earthly life. Do you get what I mean? So, we're going to end up going, this is a beautiful thing to believe in. But looking at how religion played a big part in the past, it was huge. It was really, really big. Everyone was religious back in the past, and a lot of wars were fought in the past over religion. Like when it comes to like the Venetians, and it came to the Ottoman Empire and the Romans, and Alexander the Great and Genghis Khan, and all these religions that were like, if you weren't a specific religion, you was either going to die or you was going to pay less taxes. And so religion was a really big part. But us today, as modern people, looking at religion, we look back at the past and it makes us doubt religion. It makes us feel like it creates conflict. It creates division. It creates, become ununified. I spoke to an amazing guy that come into my shop. I'm not going to mention his name, and I'm not going to mention what religion he believes in, but he's an absolutely true believer in what he believes in. And I questioned him, and I said, you believing in your religion, being honest with me, if you drive past a mosque or a church, I'm not going to say what religion it is, and you see these people that are believing in this religion, how do you feel looking at these people that are believing in a different religion to you? Me knowing you're so committed and believe that this religion I believe in is the ultimate what is going to happen. How do you feel looking at these other religions? And I said, be honest with me. And he said, I pity them. I honestly pity them. So when he said that to me, it made me believe religion can create division.
100%.
All right? And as well as it creates division, it makes people look at other people and feel like, what are you doing? Why are you believing in that? Believe in this. And, I've had people that were born in religious families, and I've had people that were born and became religious. And religion in modern days, as I see it, it's very hard to believe in because of the world we live in today.
Yeah.
Did you understand what I mean by that?
Yeah, of course. There's a lot of things that happen in the world that make you question whether there's religion or if there's even a God. Do you know what I mean? I can remember myself. I think a lot of people have also said this to themselves. If there is a God, why is there so much suffering? Why are there children getting illnesses, and dying from them? Why is there poverty and people starving? And why do people get unwell and suffer? Do you know what I mean? And I think when things like that happen, it definitely makes you question, why would God do that? But I also feel like with religion, it's there to give you answers you don't have. So to counteract that, it's, people can say, if a child has, been like 2-3 months old and they've passed away due to an illness, they could say like, God needed them in heaven, like this world wasn't for them. Do you get what I mean? They can also say, why is there suffering? To make you appreciate what you have. Do you get what I mean? But I do believe that it's a hard one because still not right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, as a parent, I see like many stories out there where a parent will lose a child.
Yeah.
And they must be battling in their heads. Please let there be a God for my child to go to heaven.
Yeah.
And then on the other side is, how can there be a God if he's taken my child away from me and left me with pain and grief and this whole hatred where I don't want to be on this earth anymore without my kid.
Yeah.
So religion is really a hard one. And that's why I believe you cannot say you believe in God unless you read a holy book or you're taught a practice, because only until you know them,
the ins and the outs
of it, is the only way you're going to be able to religiously answer them questions. It might not be what you want to hear.
Yeah.
It might not be concrete. Us as people today, we don't. Is it skeptic? We're not skeptics. It's
cynical.
Yeah, we're not cynical. Where we need to make sure it's there. I can feel it, and this is a cup, and I can smash it. But if that cup is on another table in another room, and someone talks about it, I'm gonna have to believe them. You know what I mean? It's not that I know. I've got to believe them, and that's how religion is.
Yeah, I do agree. It's an education. I do, 100%. But I feel like if you go back when you're learning about religion and stuff, it's like it's a story that happened way before you and all the people around you were ever alive to witness it. So I believe like the Bible, for example, the Quran, when you read about them or you read it itself, it speaks of a time that you weren't a witness to it. So you saying that they brought it in for a structure to educate people, do you think then that God is not real?
This is the problem. The problem is that you have two sides, two shoulders. You have this thing that is in the real world here, living here today, seeing sick, war, famine. There's no unity. There's destruction. There's this and that, and you question there can't be a God.
Yeah.
You're getting on in your life. There's people that have passed away that you love, and you're like in not the greatest way, And then you got this other side that really, really wants to. Really, really wants to. You know, I really want to believe in God. I really want to know that, as much as this sounds really bad, I want to see a ghost.
Yeah.
I really want to see a ghost. No, when people go, oh, I'm scared of that, I'm scared. Mate, bring it on. Bring it on. All right? As much as people, you won't, what, you'll shit yourself. I'll be like, mate, I'll shit myself, yeah. But what it will do, it will prove to me 100% there is an afterlife.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that we've got, yeah, that will prove to us that there is a God. If we see a ghost.
Yeah.
You know, if someone turns around and says, Jesus walked across the water. He opened up the seas and he done this and he done that. You're a bit like, it's like you said, it's an old tale in a book. Just like Aladdin. Just like, just like all these films that we spoke about. You know what I mean? Is it real?
Yeah.
Or is it...
We might be steering off topic here with my question, but I was just going to say to you, so with regard to like the afterlife, what's your view on like a... not psychic, but them people, a clairvoyant? Is that what they're called? People that claim they can interact with the afterlife. And they have, like, sat down with people and told them things about things. Like, what's your view on that?
Right, so this is what screws me over. This is really weird what I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
Okay? So my mum has always said, do not do anything like that.
Right. Because
you're going to be dwelling into things that you shouldn't be dwelling in, that are not in your control. There's a spiritual side in that way, yeah? So this is the gospel truth, what I'm going to tell you. When was it? Layla was just born 21 years ago. 21 years ago, I used to have a business in Creekside. When you look at watch the videos, yeah? When you watch the video of me in Creekside, and I walk through that estate, there used to be a guy that used to be on the first floor, and he used to be a lovely guy, and he always used to call me, "Ma'am, come up to my office, And I'd be like, what for? He goes, I want to read your palms, I want to do your cards, I want to do your tarot cards. I was like, nah, mate, I ain't even getting involved in any of that. I don't want to even get involved with it. And he bugged me. He really bugged me. And I can remember, anyway, he'd called me, he ordered something, I had to go and drop it off to him, and I walked in there and he had an amazing office. And at that time, he was an agent. He was an agent for a very famous person. And he'd worked alongside with him for many, many years. I won't mention a name, but he was a very high profile guy. So when I walked into this office and I saw all this like bling bling, I was like, wow, this thing's really, really good in here. I like it. He goes, sit down. So he told me to sit down and he said, I'm going to read your cards. I went, oh no, don't do that to me now. He said, I'm going to read your cards. I'm going to read your cards. And I thought, oh, fucking hell, here we go. What was he going to tell me? Do you know what I mean? Like, is he going to waffle me? Do you get what I mean? Anyway, I sat down and this is no lie. He turned around and he started to have these cards and he's playing with them in his hand and he sits down and he says, Ben, pick a card, and I pick a card and I put it over. I can't remember what card it was, and he picked another one up, then he picked another one up, and I had him in a row there and I was looking at him and he was looking at him and he was like, oh man, do you want me to be honest with you? And I was like, well, yeah, I'm here sitting down, what is it? He goes, I've got some really bad news for you, mate. And I was like, what do you mean? He went, you're going to lose your business. I was like, really? He went, you're going to lose your business. He said to me, you're going to lose your house. He said, you're going to split up with your partner. And you're going to go through a really bad stage. And I could see a bereavement. And I was like,
Yeah.
what the hell are you telling me? He went, you got bad times coming, Mem. And he said to me, I'm glad I've told you. And I was like, why? He goes, because I need you to have strength through it. I can see the other side. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, mate? I've come up here to drop you something off, and I'm walking out of here like a nervous wreck.
Yeah.
He said to me, your door number is 99. And I was like, how the fuck do you know that? And he said to me, don't worry. He said to me, you're gonna get your partner back. And you're gonna get your partner back as Mem. You're gonna have another child. And it's gonna be a daughter. And you're gonna get another house. And the door number's gonna add up to 9. And you're gonna be stronger than you've ever been. You've just got to be strong through that period. And I lost my house. And your mum and me did split up. And I lost the business. And I lost my mind for so many years. And I did get your mum back. And I did have another child that was a daughter. And I did get another house where the door number added up to 9108. 1 add 8 equals 9. And he said, you are going to create something that's going to be very, very valuable to the world. I'm still waiting for that bit. But everything that he told me that time came true, Ria. Mm. And they're not coincidentals.
Yeah.
So when you say to me, do you believe in a spiritual being? Right, he might have studied me and figured out where I lived and what this is. But he didn't want no money. No. He didn't want anything. And he just said to me, stay strong and you're going to be okay. And I lost my dad through that as well. Do you understand what I mean? And I had a big breakdown. So
did that give you anxiety after seeing him?
I was mentally, I became scared. I went back downstairs. I saw your mum and I looked at her in her eyes and I was like, I didn't want to say, I didn't mention any of this to your mum at that time. I didn't.
And then through the turmoil that you experienced, did you think of that scenario with him?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
It was only till after.
Yeah.
I thought, what the hell has just happened?
Yeah.
I just remember now this guy telling me all this stuff.
Yeah.
And he mentioned a book.
Okay.
And that is on my children's life. He mentioned a book.
About what?
He said you
something to do with the book.
He said about writing.
Right.
And he mentioned it.
Wow. Me personally, I'm a bit scared to sit down with someone like that for that exact reason that you just said. Yeah. So that side of things is very crazy, I think. And I know many people, I think when it's a famous person, you're a bit more...
Can I just stop you there?
Yeah.
Do you find it crazy because it's having a realization there is an unknown and you're scared how this unknown is going to react to you? Or is it, when you actually think about it, you've been blessed to go, shit, there is another world.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah,
I think it's beautiful, but would I dwell in it? No, I was forced to do that.
Yeah. I don't know. The worst thing I would find is if I sat there and somebody told me all the things I don't want to hear. Like, you can call me scared, yeah. I think that's what the reality is. Like, certain things I just don't want to think about. Do you get what I mean? And if I sat down with someone and they presented to me things that I don't want to think about, I would just be like, forget this. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
It's facing the truth.
It's his facing the truth, yeah.
The realisation of your existence, that something can be totally fucked up.
Yep.
And you don't know how you're going to deal with it.
Nope.
And you're going to feel like you're going to fall into a hole that you're not going to be able to dig yourself out of it. Is that right?
Yep. However, if I sat there with someone and they told me what they told me, and they told me, but you're going to be okay, I would look at it differently. And that's what I feel like religion is like. Do you get what I mean? Yes, you're going to go through hard times. Yes, you know, you're going to lose your parents. Yes, this is going to happen. That's going to happen. You know, heartbreak and betrayal and loss and all these kind of things. But it'll be worth it in the end. But when you pass away, you will go to heaven. And I feel like that's what that does. It gives you that assurance. Do you know what I mean? Like, a bit of a, yeah, things are going to go wrong. However, it's going to be okay. And I feel like us as human beings, that's what we need to hear. Do you know what I mean?
What do you believe heaven is? What do you believe? See, this is what I'm talking about, modern life, yeah?
Yeah.
What do you think heaven is?
I believe heaven is a world full of peace. So not like a world we live in, but like a place full of peace, that you meet your loved ones that have passed.
Okay, right. What do you believe heaven is in a physical being? Where? What is it?
I don't believe it's a physical thing. I think it's a spiritual thing. So I think it's your spirit joins all your other spirits of your family. And
okay, being a realist,
yeah,
your spirit being with other spirits, how will your mind right now be connected to that spirit? And what is this? Where is this going to be? What is this? For us to say there is going to be a heaven, we're strong enough and brave enough to turn around and say we're there. You're going to heaven, or Muslims say Jannat, or, you know, we to turn around and say, brave enough and strong enough, yep, there's a heaven, yep, there's a Jannat, yeah, but what is it? Where is it? What is it about? Where is heaven? What is it? We say it's a spiritual side. Yeah, spiritual side. The closest I get to my spiritual side is when I dream. And I have a really realistic dream where I feel like I can jump off buildings and do this and do that. And if someone said to me, no, you're going to be in a dream, and this dream is going to be a magical dream, and you're going to be seeing everyone the way you remember them, and everything the way they are, and you're going to have beautiful smells and amazing eternity of life. You're it's a dream. The way you are in your dreams is the way you're going to be in heaven or Jannat. I'd get it. But
maybe
when someone,
it is.
Huh?
Maybe it is.
No, maybe I've just brought this up to you.
Yeah.
But when someone says, "Oh, it's your soul," or "It's your spirit," or "It's this," I'm like, I know I have a spiritual being.
Yeah.
But that spiritual being is only with me internally.
So what do you think heaven is? Well,
going back
do you believe in heaven?
Well, for you to believe in heaven.
No. Do you believe in heaven?
Right.
Yes or no?
Right. Remember what I just said. For me to believe in heaven, I must believe in God.
Yes.
For me to believe in God, I must be educated in a book, a holy book. I'm not educated in a holy book, so I don't know what God I'm connected to. And that God that will tell me about heaven, how can I... Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So do I believe in heaven? Truth? No. Do I want to believe in heaven? Oh yeah, 100%. It gives me worthiness. It gives me a strength. It gives me an existence. It gives me... you know, how many people have turmoils in their lives where they come to the conclusion of everything comes to an end.
Yeah.
And it's a sad thought because it makes you think, what's the fucking point? What's the point in me trying this and trying that? And all we do is fall to the evil of money. The evil of money, as much as we need it, it creates so much pain, and it gives us it gives us what it does. It covers our vision of existence, our true. They go buy a car, buy a house, buying this, buying that. When you get old and you got pains and aches and pains, and you don't drive around in a Lamborghini and a big fat house and you're like, mate, I want my health, you know. So you start to figure out: is there a heaven? Is there a hell? So as much as we spoke about heaven, what is hell? For a religion to turn around and say you can go and kill someone and kill a child, where now you're left with that mother that really wants to believe in religion because hoping that that child goes to heaven, and then she's on a turmoil going, how can there be a God if you've taken that child away from me? What is hell? Do these people that commit these crimes don't have no religious belief? In fact, there's no fucking hell. I do what the fuck I want.
Yeah.
Did you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So religion itself can be so... See, physics and religion, do they mix? They don't really mix. Because physics tell you your existence of your life. No? The species. Religion is telling you something that is spiritual.
Yeah, because there's two sides, isn't there? You've got the science and then you've got the religion.
You know, when you go into a hospital, like when they said to like about dead end, there's nothing we can do. There must be something you can do. There's nothing we can do. But we do so much. We create all this, everything that you can see behind here, and you can't save him. No. So, at that time, we call for God.
Yeah. People do when they feel hopeless. Yeah.
And that's why I always say, us as individuals will always call for God.
Yeah.
And hope is there. And when you see someone that says, an atheist, is it an atheist that don't believe anything? Yeah. What he's done, he's just zumped it out.
Yeah.
He zumped it out. But trust me, a person that doesn't believe in God will want to believe in God at one stage in his life. Please, 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 please. And I think it's beautiful to believe in God. You ask me, do I believe in heaven? I want to. Am I religious? No, I try to be. So, it's a crazy one.
Yeah.
Are you religious? You can't be religious because you don't read. You can't be. I know you're spiritual. I know you're spiritual, and as much as people are going to be listening to this, maybe they're going to question it themselves.
Yeah. I believe in a higher power. I'm not sure on the name of the higher power. I don't know if that higher power just ignites a power in me. Do you know what I mean? That makes me stronger. Mm-hmm. Do you get what I mean by that?
Yeah.
So, I definitely pray, and I do believe that there is something bigger than I am in terms of energy. But I do believe that that's just to build up my energy, to keep me going.
Mm-mm.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So, to some, no, I'm not religious, and I'm not religious. I respect religions. I consider all religions beautiful, and I'm interested in them. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not like, yeah, I only believe in this and I only believe in that. I understand why people believe in religions. I do. But I haven't been born into religion. So for me to devote myself to one, it would purely be off of my own back and what I believe in.
Mm-mm.
But I do think it's a case of like, they say there's aliens, but I've never seen one. So do I believe in aliens because you've told me that there's an alien? I'm not quite sure. Do you understand what I mean?
Do you believe in aliens?
I do, yeah, in a weird way.
Okay.
I do, yeah, I do. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. When you think of like, the only reason I believe in aliens or some form of extraterrestrial creature is because when you look at the solar system and you look at where Earth is and where all these other planets are, and that there's planets that have never been visited before, how all of this goes on in Earth, one planet, what could go on in another planet?
Or another galaxy.
Yeah, you get what I'm trying to say. Like, yeah, so I'm not 100% like, no, there isn't. Not 100% like, yeah, there is. But I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. Do you?
We're gonna have I know an amazing guy. He's an astrologist. Is it an astrologist? No.
Astronomer?
What's the one that knows about the stars and the moon?
Yeah, an astrologist.
Astronomer, yeah.
Yeah.
He's an amazing guy. We'll interview him. All right. But yeah, getting back to religion and being spiritual is really important.
Yeah.
It will drag you through your hard times.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have any faith or any belief or any, you're not going to move.
No.
You're not going to move. You're not
like
going to move.
You sat there and you were like, what is the point?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it gives you a bit of purpose.
Yeah.
Whether that is being just spiritual, like disregard religion. Like maybe you're not religious, you don't believe in a God, but you believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You believe in your strength and you believe in your journey. Do you know what I mean? That in itself is something to believe in. So I feel like it's when you don't have nothing to believe in or you don't believe in anything, that's when you're a little bit
it's pretty sad.
Yeah, and I think, isn't that what hedonistic means?
Hedonism, I believe, was the first religion.
Hold on, where's a phone?
I don't know. Somewhere. I don't know. Yeah, religion. It's a sensitive subject to all of us. We're all connected to some sort of spiritual being in all ways. I mean,
again, I think it's a subject that you could talk about for ages. There's many levels to it. So I think it's something that over time we could personally learn a little bit more about it. But I feel like we'll face many times and challenges in our lives where we'll feel that spirituality strengthen. And whether that leads us to religion is something that we just, we wait to find out, really.
I mean, we spoke about religion today and the spiritual side, and like relating back to the book. The book itself, it had some hard times, bereavement. There was alcoholism, drug addiction, crime, and all these other things that are relating to it. And it was spirit that got us through it.
Yeah.
It was spirit that got my dad through certain times and me certain times. And, it was spirit that made us go out and do these documentaries. It was faith. It was a belief. It was... it was a spirit and a belief that's brought us here today in front of these cameras, and people are going to be listening to this podcast. I mean, we haven't exploited religion in a big way, because it'd be nice actually to get, a believer in a way of someone who's really committed to believe, and literally, I wouldn't say interrogate them, but literally be able to...
I think religion is going to be a subject that we will touch on a little bit later on down the line too. We can delve into it a little bit more, like you said, if we have the opportunity to maybe speak with someone that, can challenge our opinions, and we can challenge theirs and get a few more answers for it.
I don't think it's challenge. It's a bit like, maybe they might say something that will convince us.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
But if all you guys out there have enjoyed our podcast about religion today, and you guys are religious, not religious, want to be religious, you got a point you want to set, I think it's important that you guys actually, think about your spiritual side, because you'll probably find that the journey that you've taken in your life, I mean, all your ups and your downs, you're always going to be, come through it. And the strength behind it is more than likely going to be your spiritual side and your support around you. Because your support around you is not going to actually tell you you're going to be okay. They're trying to give you a spiritual strength to go, you can get through this, you can do this. But if you guys are connected in any way, I'd love to hear your feedback and what you all believe.
Yes, as always, guys, thank you so much for watching and tuning in. Don't forget that you can listen to our podcasts on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We will be updating every single Sunday at 5 p.m. Anything else you want to finish off with?
I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like, we spoke about religion. It's put me into a state.
Spiritual state.
It's put me in a bit of a state. A state of like, maybe go and visit the church or the mosque, or pick up the Bible, the Quran, and maybe start teaching ourselves a bit. But even though it's like the holy month of Ramadan, and we try to do our little bit, it's always important that the bit I do like about religion is giving. I do like that.
Me too.
Cutting yourself off and giving a little bit. But thank you so much. Maybe the next podcast will be a little bit more
light-hearted.
But
But thank you guys as always, and we'll see you next Sunday.